Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's Friday again. This time, it's Parashat VaYishlach. In our parasha, we have the big face-off between our forefather Yaakov and his twin brother Eisav. Yaakov and Eisav have a very complicated relationship. Already from before they were born, we find already in vitro, in pregnancy, these two babies are already wrestling. Hugging and wrestling. Their relationship is nearly always one of deep connection. They are intertwined with each other. They cannot escape. Their futures are constantly interwoven. And yet, at the same time, they're both pulling very hard against each other, trying at the same time to disengage and to also conquer and control the other. This battle between Yaakov and Eisav is a battle that is very clear in the psukim, in the story between the two biblical characters, the character of Yaakov, the character of Eisav. But in Jewish tradition, it goes much deeper than that. Yaakov becomes Israel, becomes the Jewish people, and Eisav likewise, as we see at the end of the parasha, the very last words of the parasha that we will, Be'ezrat Hashem, read tomorrow is, Hu Eisav Avi Edom. Eisav is the father of the nation of Edom. And when the Jewish people, likewise, when they come out of the land of Egypt and they're about to enter Israel and set up their country and their nation in their proper place, on that journey, they pass by the land of Edom. And there is a reaching out of the Jewish people to their cousins, in essence, the children of their forefather Eisav, their forefather Yaakov. Maybe we can together reconnect. Maybe we can work together. Maybe we can pass through your land. Maybe you can help us out. And the answer from Edom is no. No entry, no relationship. We are not interested. The battle between Eisav and Yaakov translates into the battle between Edom and the Jewish people. And this battle continues throughout the Tanakh. We will find throughout the Tanakh a interesting dilemma, a dynamic between Edom and the Jewish people. At times they are on the same side. For example, we'll find that in Sefer Melachim, in the Book of Kings, there are periods where they work together, periods where they work against each other. But either way, by the end of the Tanakh, Edom is very clearly on the outs with the Jewish people, and he is seen as one of our enemies, one of the people who rejoices in our demise. The Haftarah that we're going to read, Be'ezrat Hashem, this Shabbat is from the book of Obadiah. It is, in essence, the book of Obadiah. There's only one chapter in Obadiah, Obadiah, as they say in the English-speaking language, and that is one of the 12 books at the end of Nevi'im, Terei Asar, and there it is specifically a prophecy of doom against Edom for all of the evil that they have done to the Jewish people throughout the ages. But it doesn't end with the end of the Tanakh. As we move forwards into the period of the Second Temple period, and maybe even the end of the Second Temple period, the rabbis very often will identify Edom and Eisav with the new enemy on the block, which is Rome. Rome, despite obviously having no genetic relationship to Eisav and Edom, who are all going on in the Middle East with us, Rome is far away into the heartlands of Southern Europe. Nonetheless, Edom is seen as a continuation, whether it's spiritual or metaphysical continuation of the power of Eisav, the Yadayim Yadei Eisav, this element of empire, the element of red, Edom literally meaning red, and the Roman Empire very often being colored with the color red, and the legions and the legionnaires and the flag and the power and this idea of Rome suddenly becoming the new Eisav is often brought as a counterweight to Jerusalem. Excuse me. Rome and Jerusalem become the new Edom, and Israel become the new Eisav and Yaakov. And whenever Rome is up, Jerusalem is down, and whenever Jerusalem is up, Rome is down. And this battle continues throughout Chazal. We'll very often find midrashim and rabbinic statements about Eisav, where really they're hinting their code for the Romans. After the fall of the Roman Empire, we will move into the era of the church. And very often throughout the Middle Ages and the rabbis of the Middle Ages, the Rishonim, we will find midrashim and commentaries about Eisav, where really, potentially, they might actually be hinting to the church. The church very often is seen as the heir to the throne of Rome. The seat of the church, the Vatican, is in the heart of Rome. Excuse me. Even the Eastern Church, the Byzantine Empire, also called itself the Roman Empire. So we see that the church throughout Jewish history is often seen as a fill-in for the church and a fill-in for Eisav. And as such, we've moved from Rome versus Jerusalem to the synagogue versus the church. And very often that is another one of these kind of relationships between Eisav. Whenever one is up, the other is down. And beautifully, from the world of European Christianity, we move into the realm of Western civilization as a whole. The civilization that we meet today in the West, whether it's in America, in Europe, or any other Western country, is very often the heir to both Rome and Athens and Jerusalem, but specifically continuing on what they call Judeo-Christian values and the ethos that is used to build the civilization that we today swim around in today. And as such, fascinatingly, beautifully, Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, at the turn of the 20th century, really the middle of the 19th century, he writes about Western civilization, Western culture, being the continuation of that dynamic of mitzad echad, on one hand having the Jewish values, on the other hand having Western secular cultural values, in essence Torah, im derech eretz, modern and orthodox, right? How do these two things go together? And the Rav Hirsch says beautifully, coming back to our parasha, despite the battle between Eisav and Yaakov often being one of survival, who will survive, who will win, who will be the firstborn, who will be the chosen one, and who will be set aside, who will be, which testament, the Old Testament or the New Testament, which culture will persevere, our culture or their culture. We see in our parasha a beautiful hint of maybe another way of viewing Eisav and Yaakov. Despite the constant stories in the Torah of Eisav and Yaakov being on edge, we also find, if you look carefully, moments of reuniting, moments of unification, moments of understanding. And beautifully, when Yitzchak, their father, dies, Eisav and Yaakov bury him together. Likewise, when Yaakov comes back from his adventures in Haran with Lavan, Eisav gives him a huge embrace. Vayishakeu, he kisses him. Indeed, there are dots in the text. If you look closely, it's in many ways the biblical equivalent of italics. There's something interesting going on there. It needs to be explored. What exactly is the relationship between Yaakov and Eisav? It's complicated. Nonetheless, Eisav seems to have embraced Yaakov, and most beautifully, Eisav moves out. Eisav recognizes that Yaakov and his family are the heirs to the land of Israel, and he moves into Eretz Seir. He takes his family out of the promised land, in many ways giving way to his younger brother. So when it comes to the relationship between Western values, between Eisav and Judaism, Rav Hirsch says that there is a potential place for working together, for harmonization, for unification. That if we are able to both see the good in each other, and the Ibn Ezra famously says this as well, whenever Eisav recognizes the good in Yaakov, we are able to recognize back the good in Eisav and harmonize these ideas. And I think the very term Judeo-Christian values, which is bandied around so much, I feel is a throwback to our parasha, in many ways, Yaakobian, right? Yaakov and Eisav values. How can these separate worlds, at times at odds with each other, actually work together for the good of humanity, to bring the morality, to bring the message of Avram Avinu, of monotheism, of righteousness, of good, and of charity to the world. So with that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. May Be'ezrat Hashem we continue the Nevuah of Yitzchak, Hakol Kol Yaakov Vayadayim Yedei Eisav, with the voice of Yaakov and the actions of Eisav. May we unite together and become Yisrael, bring all of the elements for the good together. And may Be'ezrat Hashem we have a good week. Shabbat Shalom.